We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
No time like the present.
It's present time. Hey everyone, welcome in to High School Famous, the podcast that shares a joint bank account. You guessed it. It's a bank account to fund various dislocation surgeries.
Did you say welcome in at the beginning of that?
I think I did. Did I? Welcome in.
I was toying around. No, it was just weird. I was toying around with the idea of like playing up the whole like school thing more. And like starting off with saying like, quiet down, class.
Oh, sure. Class in session? No, that's courts in session.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could say, instead of saying see you next Tuesday, we could say class dismissed.
Yeah. I think you told me that before.
Yeah, I did. Maybe offline.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was, I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, if we really wanted to go all in on school.
Yeah, I think at this point, we haven't been, so.
Why start now?
Why start now?
We can always try things and see if it feels right.
Yeah.
So, pencils down. Time's up. Pencils down.
What?
And if you have any questions, raise your hand.
Yeah.
Also, if you need to use the potty, if you need to use the bathroom, raise your hand and we'll give you a pass. A restroom.
Pass.
Yeah, we'll give you it. Yep. Get out of line. I might send you to the principal's office.
Take out the ruler. Slap you in the back of the hand.
Pay attention, and I will be writing things on the board. And
take notes because this might be on the final.
Yep. And your book reports are due at the end of next week.
Yeah.
So make sure they are. What's the word when you cite your sources? Make sure there's a separate page with that stuff.
Like
I forgot what it's called. No, a table of contents is not citing your sources. It just tells you.
I think it's just called citing your sources.
Well, there's a term for that page, or there's a term if it is if you do cite your sources. I can't remember what it is. Someone will tell us. Hey, this is a good sign for what's to come. You know why, Matt?
What? Why?
Because we're clearly showing that we know a lot of things, and we're going to display. Yeah. We're going to display what we know. We're going to be featured on a show called something. It's called Stuff. I had to find it. Hold on. Forgive us for the lack of information on this. This just happened earlier today. We're going to be on a show called Stuff I Never Knew Trivia Game Show podcast. And it's going to be a trivia show, and we're going to be competing against other contestants as well as against each other for the winner. And it's going to be recorded this coming Tuesday, the 9th, I believe the date is. But it won't be available as a podcast for about 8 weeks or so. But it's also going to air on some sort of channel. The video of it will. So I need to get all the info on that to give. Yeah,
because I'd be interested in seeing where that actually gets posted, if it ends up on YouTube or anything like that.
Yeah. So again, this is a very informal alert about it, just because this happened earlier today, and we don't have all the information just yet. So we will provide more information once we collect it. But that'll be fun.
I think I literally found out of the possibility of it even happening about 3 hours ago.
Yeah,
and then
I think I found out. You
sent off the email or the message, and it's been what? You told me like 20 minutes ago that it's actually happening. So
yeah, because that's not long. That's not long after I found out, and I think I initially heard about this probably half an hour before you did, before I asked you about it. So yeah,
this is all happening very quickly,
very spur of the moment. So in 2 days, we're going to be recording this episode with the show, Stuff I Never Knew Trivia Game Show podcast. They've been around for about 8 years. You can look them up wherever you get podcasts, and you can listen to past episodes. I'm sure we're going to check a couple out between now and Tuesday night to
get a feel for how
it
runs.
Yeah, to get a feel for it.
Yeah, and I might just go in blind.
You could do that too.
We'll see.
We're assured that these questions are not too difficult. So I think that they probably find it more interesting with people. A lot of people know the answers and can see who can answer more quickly versus a bunch of people going, and nobody knows. So.
Right. I'm curious as to, we'll see how it works, but how serious are we going to be?
I know. Yeah, I mean,
will we just bomb on purpose just to be more funny about it?
I mean, if I go at it with my balderdash approach, then yes, I will just come up with ridiculous answers to try to cause laughter versus actually trying to seriously win the game.
Because I'm also curious as to what is the motivation to actually win it. Like, is there a prize at the end, or is it just for fun? Because if it's just for fun, then go into it not caring and just say random shit. Which I'm sure it's more than. It'll probably be more than fine to just throw out a funny answer and then give the real answer kind of situation. Maybe if they're not like, oh nope, we'll take the first thing you said.
Well,
sorry.
I mean, I don't know. It's a pretty tightly packed show, so there's at least 3 rounds of trivia, and the whole thing, he said the show is about typically 30 to 40 minutes. So if you got, 4 or 5, I'm not sure how many contestants there are, but,
right.
There might not be a lot of wiggle room for shenanigans.
Yeah.
So
well, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, maybe I will give it at least one listen beforehand just to see how it kind of flows, just to get an idea of it. But
yeah, so
have you done a lot of trivia in the past?
Geez, not much beyond like the Buffalo Wild Wings trivia that we used to play way back when. But no,
that's
nothing
way back when.
Nothing in the last 20 years, I would say.
Okay, so I used to do trivia weekly for quite a while out here.
So you're a dead ringer.
Amazingly enough, so there's this bar that we used to go to that would do trivia every Tuesday night. So we would go there every Tuesday, and the prizes are basically just like first place gets a $50 gift card, second place a $25, and third place a $15 gift card to the restaurant. So there's at least like some motivation to win. But you could have teams up to 8 people, and we were always just a team of 2.
Oh, okay.
It was just always us. And we've taken every single place a couple of different times.
Wow.
So so that's the crazy thing, is being a group of 2 beating some groups of 8 and various other groups within that. It was just kind of like, all right, cool. So but it always depends on the night. It just depends on what questions fall within your your bit of knowledge that you have in your brain. So it was always the music round that we dominated on, like every single time.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So if there's a music round, it wasn't me usually. It was.
I was going to look it up because I think I did sort of skim through some episodes, and the very first one was called like the Christmas show, but I don't know if that was holiday based or just saying that the trivia questions were Christmas based at that time. So.
I would assume that they probably did it around Christmas time. It'd be weird to do a Christmas based episode in July.
But I guess what I mean is, I don't know if that is signifying that each episode title is a category of questions, but it looks like
right.
Now
it might have just been like, this is our Christmas episode, but it's just whatever questions.
That appears to be that it's just the Christmas episode, because right now it looks like every episode title is just, name versus name versus name episode. It's just the names of the people on the show, on that episode. So I was hoping that it would tell us if each episode had a certain question theme, like you said, music or movie trivia or TV or whatever. Sports.
Yeah, it might just be random.
We will find out.
Maybe the rounds, maybe each specific round might have a theme.
Probably. Now, some of these, like this says, what? Anyway, I'm not going to try to figure it out. But anyway, yes. So if you're someone who listens to this podcast the day it comes out, then when you listen to it, you will know that we have very little time for the actual. It'll happen this night, but in real time, we have a couple days.
Yeah. So basically, by the time you might be listening to this while we're currently sitting and doing some trivia, if you listen to it at that same particular time. But that'll be interesting. This is just kind of our bit that we've been trying to do lately of reaching out and collaborating a bit more this time around.
And if you listen to us, 8 weeks or more out, then the episode that we're on is probably already available.
Yeah.
If you like to wait 8 weeks after an episode of ours comes out before you check it out, we're already available.
Obviously, as we learn more about when it might be released, we will be updating as we find out more.
But just a little teaser.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, what's to come?
What's to come?
Speaking of what's to come, I've got dad joke time. Not that means not that what's to come has anything to do with dad jokes. I just pretended that was a segue. So I let Leo pick this week, and here's the one he chose. What happens when you try to kick a volcano?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you crack a toa.
That's
right.
Probably one of the better ones. It's a bit more on the clever side.
A little bit. I feel like I've heard it before. But I'll read off the other one that I was considering. It goes, I didn't want to make paper airplanes with my daughter, but she was so insistent that I eventually folded.
That's so dumb.
Do you like the toss afterward? No one could see it except Matt, but I just toss the paper in the air when I'm done reading it to signify that's the punchline, in case you couldn't tell.
In case you couldn't tell.
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
There's this Chad Daniels bit that he does talking about he goes to a comedy festival and he brings his son along to the comedy festival.
Sure.
Allegedly, this is a true story that he tells. But so he's sitting back in the green room with a bunch of other comedians, and these two comedians that he's never met before, so obviously his son has never met before, come in and they start giving his kid a hard time. Like, oh, how old are you? He's like, oh, I'm 18. And they're like, oh, are you going to go out there and wow the crowd with your 18-year-old humor? Blah, blah, blah. His son's not a comedian. He's not performing. He's just along for the ride.
Sure.
So somebody's like, aren't you going to help your son? And he's just like, no, it's all right. I sharpened the stick. I know how it pokes. And his son just goes, oh, that's great. That's great advice. Can I tell you something I like about your performance? So yeah, go ahead. He's like, I like how you laugh at the end to show the audience that it's time for them to laugh because the punchlines don't do the trick.
Nice.
It's like,
if that is a true story,
that's what it made me think of. Is just you throw the thing up in the air because who's to say when the punchline's going to happen? So
if that was really the kid's comeback, that kid should be doing stand up, perhaps.
Yeah.
Now it may or may not be a true story, but it's 100%. It's 100% true that it's a story he tells.
Yes. Yeah.
Unless he's lying about
Daniels
that too.
Chad Daniels is a very funny comedian. If you haven't checked out much of his stuff,
to you can confidently
I think you'd enjoy
say.
him.
Well, all I can say is that only you can confidently say that he's funny to you. You can't really say he's funny to everyone else.
I suppose. I feel like I have a generally good judgment on a funny comedian because I've also seen a lot of very bad stand-up, but I've seen some really bad stand-up that people still laugh very hard at. So it's also kind of either a cultural thing or
John Mulaney.
Just like I know you don't really care for John Mulaney.
I think he's overrated.
Well, I can understand that. Now, granted, when I first started listening to John Mulaney, I had never heard of him before. So I had no idea, like he wasn't like big yet as far as in my head. So it was just kind of like, oh, this guy's funny. And
I honestly don't recall when I first came across him, if it was someone I had already heard about, like maybe if people had hyped him up and then I saw him, or I just saw him in passing without knowing who he was either. But I definitely didn't know him. I don't remember if he performed at all on SNL, or I know he was a writer, but I don't know if he
occasionally would come out and do stuff, but he wasn't like he wasn't like a cast member. Yeah.
So I don't think I ever actually, I saw bits of when he hosted, like he came back to host after he stopped working there. But so he was largely unknown to me when I first started seeing clips of him or hearing people talk about him. But they go on about him like he's just the best thing.
Yeah, and that can be very off-putting.
Yeah,
because then your expectations going into it are heightened so much that then the jokes might not hit as hard as people are making them seem like they are.
I think that so a lot of times these opinions are coming from other comedians, right?
Right.
And I have a feeling that comedians, like professional stand-up comedians that do this for a living, they will appreciate certain jokes more because of they know how much work was probably put into it.
True.
More so than they are actually just like objectively funny. Like they might throw praise. Yeah, they might throw praise at a comedian's set because they know how much work was probably put into it and they understand what it's like to try to come up with an hour of material.
Right.
So, but I think that obviously the audience has to just, as a whole, just find it funny for it to be considered good, you know.
True.
Who knows?
Yeah, comedians are going to be more they're going to take it more as part of the process of it. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Maybe that's what it is. I guess I don't know what like the average person thinks of John Mulaney. I don't hear anyone talk about him except other comedians. So maybe that's why I get this like off-putting like thing on him where I'm like, oh, he's not as great as everyone says he is. But maybe, you know, the general public also doesn't think he's as great as these comedians say he is.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's similar with like a comedian like Louis Anderson. Comedian like he was I liked Louis Anderson. I thought he was pretty funny, but he wasn't like, you know, side-splittingly funny to me.
Sure.
But comedians hold him to such like this high standard of how great of a comedian he was, and it's because of how he formed his jokes and how he did his sets and stuff like that. So comedians hold him at a very, very high regard.
I think another prime example of this has got to be Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
he
a lot
was
of people
all
didn't
about
care for Norm.
Yeah, but he was all about just committing to a joke, whether it was bad or not, and almost more so when he knows it's a bad joke.
Oh,
and that is what they respect about him. So if you're in on that, you can like him more than just at the face value of the jokes themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say a prime example for him was when he did the Bob Saget roast.
Yes.
And everybody was just
infamous.
like, oh yeah, he's going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he purposely took a bunch of jokes out of like a 1950s like joke book, which were just the worst jokes in the world. But it's his delivery and his commitment to it that made that whole set like steal the show that night. Because the jokes were awful.
Well, I think it's because someone told him that he's got to go real hard and be real dirty and real offensive and go real hard like that. And so he's like, well, no, I don't. I'm just going to go super clean and corny and lame.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone loved it. I know that there's this whole joke that the comedian inner circle kind of all tell each other. And it's like something where a punchline is always the aristocrats or something like that. And so I know that Gilbert Gottfried had some like legendary version of the aristocrat joke on some sort of forum. I forget what it was.
What it was, I know exactly what you're talking about. What it was is it was not very long after 9/11 happened. Like probably a little too soon after 9/11 happened. And he made I don't know if it was at a roast or what it was at. It was at something, but he made a joke about somebody not being able to be there that night because they had to, I think it's something, I might be completely misquoting this, but it was something about they caught a connecting flight to some building.
Oh.
And the audience was immediately against him.
Yeah.
So he just went into the aristocrats joke and just made it as awful and horrible as possible and won everybody back over immediately. Like all the comedians that were there were losing their shit.
Good on
now, yeah, we just mentioned talking about a bunch of dead comedians.
You know, I was honestly going to point out the exact same thing because the only comedian that we mentioned that is still alive is John Mulaney. Every other one we've talked about is dead now. So that's awesome.
All the greats.
All within the last just 2 years or so, right?
Yeah, fairly recently.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bob Saget next, shall we?
Yeah. Or
boy was he a dirty comedian, huh?
I mean, I mentioned Bob Saget too. So he's.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah. The Norm at the Bob Saget roast.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Let's
so
talk about Greg Giraldo.
So he was Bob Saget was the wholesome TV dad on Full House, and then he hosted America's Funniest Home Videos, just like the most wholesome dude, but a very, very dirty stand-up
Very
routine.
dirty stand-up.
Yeah. Yeah. Not at all like his personas on television.
Yeah. Apparently, though, super awesome, nice dude. So.
That's what I hear.
Yep.
Whenever I ask about him, that's what I hear. I just walk up to people I don't know. Hey, what do you think of Bob Saget? What's your experience with him like? Oh, super sweet, kind, sharing, caring, daring.
Anyway. Sean, I say we get into the meat of this episode.
I don't eat meat anymore. I want to declare that I'm vegan, and I want to declare it a lot, often.
You don't have to be vegan to not eat meat,
but I can be.
Right? Are you declaring that you're vegan?
I'm going to declare it a lot.
Are you actually vegan?
I'm going to make sure that you know that you are very well aware without being prompted or asked. I'm just going to say,
right.
I'm going to make sure to point out whenever I can that I'm vegan.
But if you're going to claim to be vegan, if you're going to announce this right now, you better be, because otherwise the vegans will come after you.
Oh, I know we will.
So no dairy, no eggs.
I don't dairy.
You don't eat dairy if you're a vegan.
Well, no eggs either?
Yeah, no eggs. That's dairy. That's egg is the ovum of an animal. You can't have it.
It comes from an animal. So what do I have to be?
Anything that comes from an animal, you cannot have.
What do I have to be to still be able to eat dairy,
meat,
and eggs?
I believe vegetarians will still eat eggs.
Okay,
because it's not a developed.
It's not developed from an animal.
Meat, yeah, it's not a meat product.
So what? Okay, can vegetarians?
Well, it's developed from an animal, but it's not a developed animal.
Can vegetarians eat like grilled, like pork chops?
No.
Okay, so hold on. So that's out.
Wow, what a stupid question.
So, what can eat pork chops?
What does eat?
What does eat? What can
anything that's an omnivore can do it. And even though vegetarians are technically omnivores, they choose to be herbivores.
Well, if they don't eat meat, wouldn't that make them no longer an omnivore?
No, I think they're still technically considered an omnivore because they have the ability to eat meat. A lot of animals are omnivores or herbivores because they have no ability to even digest meat or eat meat.
Can I declare that I'm an omnivegetarian?
No. Well, maybe if you eat fish. A lot of vegetarians will still eat fish.
Well, what if I eat?
That's more pescatarian. What
if I eat veggie-based meats? Am I an omnivegetarian?
No, you're a sad human being. Because I feel like people who are like, I won't eat a hamburger, but I will eat a veggie burger, and it tastes just like a hamburger. It's like, just then fucking eat a hamburger. Like, you're eating something that's like,
yeah, but they're not actually
scientifically
animal, so
engineered to taste like something that it isn't.
Yeah, but the whole point is they're not contributing to the killing of these animals. So they're still doing good in their own minds.
Right? Yeah, I get that. I guess I'm more so against calling foods the things that they're trying to pretend to be.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is a vegetarian chicken sandwich. It's like, no, it's not. It's a vegetarian sandwich that tastes like chicken.
Just call it like a veggie patty or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though I'm not gonna lie, I've had some very delicious veggie burgers.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Every once in a while, a good veggie burger can hit, and a lot of the Beyond Meat burgers are actually quite good. They're quite beyond.
I have not had. Nor do I. I don't know where I'll find myself in a position to have to try one.
Well, you're a vegan now, so you're 100% in the position to try one.
Well, I don't have to. I still don't have to try those things.
True.
I could just eat vegetables and fruit
and be unfulfilled for the rest of your life.
Well, there's something like
slowly waste away.
There's something ethically fulfilling.
Really?
Being a vegan. Yeah, you know.
To me, you go to the store, the meat's already there. Those animals are already dead. I didn't do anything to them, but I can eat them so they don't go to waste.
Yes, but you're contributing
I'm doing good by eating the meat that's already there so that it doesn't get thrown out.
No, so that there is a bit of validity to that. I will agree.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also contributing to the demand for more meat to be produced.
I mean, they're going to produce that meat whether I eat it or not. So I'm not really adding to that.
Yeah, I know. It's another movement where unless 100% of the people on board, it's not really going to have an effect on the world. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have your meat and eat it too.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's bad if you just have the meat.
See, I'm trying to give up sweets, but I will definitely eat a meat-based cake.
Oh, that's like a mince pie.
No. I'm talking about it tastes like cake.
Oh.
But it's meat-based.
I feel like that would be awful because texturally that wouldn't.
They've got it figured out.
Who's they?
I
don't trust them.
The guys in the store.
The store doesn't produce meat.
the guys in the meat cakery.
Oh God, that sounds awful. Well,
hey, it fools me, and I know cake got me fooled. So yeah, let's get into the meat of this thing, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you get us there?
We went off on a weird tangent, and during that weird tangent, you asked some pretty stupid questions.
Wait a minute.
Which is a segue into what we're going to do.
Wait a minute.
So we've talked about ChatGPT on here a couple of times. I realized. So we had Matt on a few weeks ago, and he had brought it up, and at that point, I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" A few weeks prior to that, I don't know how many, it had been brought up in an episode earlier, and we had kind of talked about it. But for anybody who doesn't know, it's an AI program. You can ask it questions, and it gives you, some pretty good information, actually. It's pretty smart AI, as it were. So I thought it might be interesting to ask it some really stupid questions from the internet and some questions that are maybe more like shower thoughts or rhetorical questions, and just kind of see what it comes up with. And in doing that, then I also had Sean send me some questions, originally without any knowledge of what I was doing. And unfortunately, it did not like any of his questions, and it didn't want to answer any of them.
I think I made questions. New ones. I came up with questions that were too ridiculous for ChatGPT.
Basically, it just kept saying that it couldn't answer any of them because they didn't make any sense.
I think that AI has evolved enough where it's earned the moniker smart artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. So I decided to ask it some dumb questions, and I asked it a lot of dumb questions, and it was giving me a lot of very real answers to some of them. So they were very boring. So I kind of picked a few that I thought were actually kind of interesting that we can go through, and then I threw all Sean's questions in there before we started, and I have not read through any of those yet at all.
So do you want to start with mine because they may be duds, or do you want to just hopefully save those for the end and cross our fingers that they're entertaining?
Let's. That's tough.
Let's do the stuff you picked first.
Okay.
To show the potential of what can be with ChatGPT.
Yeah. So this one's not super crazy, but the question was: if you decide to be indecisive, which are you?
Oh, I like that.
Seems like interesting. So this is what it says. If you decide to be indecisive, you are still indecisive. Indecision refers to the state of being unable to make a decision, regardless of whether that state is intentional or not. In some cases, a person may choose to be intentionally indecisive, perhaps to avoid making a difficult decision, or because they feel they need more information before making a choice. However, even if the indecision is deliberate, the person is still in a state of uncertainty and has not yet made a decision. So, whether the indecision is intentional or not, the person is still considered to be indecisive. So, that's the kind of stuff it does. Like, that's a very straight answer to what is kind of just a question that's supposed to kind of give you some, it's supposed to be kind of thought-provoking.
Right. But we can clearly see that. Is it ChatGPT?
P, as in Paul.
GPT.
Yeah.
All right. We can tell that ChatGPT is a party animal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This next one. Do fish get thirsty?
I'm going to say the answer is no.
Well, let's find out, shall we? Fish I'm just trying to warm up my trivia brain for later.
There you go.
I'm sure this question won't come up, but if it does, you will have the answer. Fish do not experience thirst in the same way that humans and other land animals do. This is because fish live in water, which surrounds and constantly flows over their gills, allowing them to extract the oxygen they need to breathe. Thirst is a sensation that is triggered by lack of water in the body, which can lead to dehydration. Fish, on the other hand, are able to regulate the water content in their bodies through a process called something I'm not going to try to read, which allows them to... No.
Oh.
It's osmorgulation, probably close to that. Anyway, which allows them to maintain the proper balance of salt and water. While fish may not get thirsty, they still need to maintain a proper balance of water and electrolytes in their bodies to stay healthy. This can be achieved by providing them with clean, well-oxygenated water and ensuring that the water chemistry is appropriate for the species of fish you are keeping. So this is talking about fish that you decide to put in a, thing that looks like their home but isn't.
So make sure that there is more water than there is fish?
Well, that's definitely important. You don't want to you don't want to fill an aquarium with fish and then pour in water to take up the rest of the space. Probably not a safe way for them to live.
I don't know that that's been tried. I bet you that'd be worth trying.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure
they
the
would
pile
all die.
I'm sure the pile of fish would agree.
Uh,
So I guess I was kind of right. It said that they don't experience thirst, but then it said in the same way that humans do, right? So
yeah, I mean they need water to survive, obviously, but they don't drink it. Basically, they obviously need to stay hydrated like anybody else in the world, but they just don't get thirsty.
I will argue this.
If it ever gets to the point where a fish is thirsty, it's probably too late.
So, but we're gonna so we live out of the water. Fish live in the water, correct? So
yeah.
it says right there that fish do not experience thirst in the same way. So
right.
If we change the meaning of what being thirsty means to align itself with the reason a fish needs water, then it will experience that version of thirst. So that means I'm wrong.
If we completely change the meaning of the word thirst.
Well, there's what we experience as thirst, like why we become thirsty, and then there's why a fish becomes thirsty. It's a different reason. It said fish need to be hydrated.
Yeah.
So
which is obvious.
Right. So their version of what it means to be thirsty is not the same for those that live above the water and on land.
Right.
So they do experience thirst, just not in the exact same way we do. Oh. So I'm incorrect. Okay. So what I said
I gotcha.
Could be considered right, but I'm wrong in my answer.
Right.
To the question.
Correct.
This is my proudest moment.
Because you got something wrong?
But I figured out why I figured out and was able to explain why I was wrong. I was able to create the reason why I'm wrong. Which who can say they've done that?
A lot of people. Let's hope that you don't go into these during the trivia. I know why I was wrong now.
Well, I'll gauge it. I'll gauge if the show's struggling and needs this type of content.
There you go.
And then I'll gladly offer it up.
Okay. Here's the next dumb internet question. If you have a cold hot pocket, is it just a pocket? The term hot pocket generally refers to a specific type of food product, namely a brand of microwavable turnover filled with various types of meat, cheese, and vegetables, which is designed to be heated in a microwave or conventional oven before eating. If a hot pocket is cold, it is still technically a hot pocket in the sense that it is the same food product, but it would not be hot. It would simply be a cold turnover or pastry with filling. So in this case, you could still call it a pocket, but it would not be a hot pocket. However, it is important to note that hot pockets are designed to be cooked thoroughly before eating, and consuming a cold or uncooked hot pocket would pose a risk of foodborne illness. Therefore, it is always recommended to follow the cooking instructions on the package and make sure that the hot pocket is heated to the appropriate temperature before consuming it.
I wonder, is the risk of eating a frozen hot pocket actually foodborne illnesses, or is it that you'll break your teeth and your you'll because if it's those things are always cooked thoroughly before they're frozen.
Yeah.
So theoretically, it hasn't been kept in that dangerous temperature zone for long enough for any bacteria to grow.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you had no issues with chewing through a frozen Hot Pocket, if there was no risk to damaging your teeth or maybe your throat as you swallow down frozen chunks of Hot Pocket, that it would be completely safe to consume that way.
Yeah, I think where the risk would happen is if you just let it get to room temperature and then eat it.
Yeah. Well, I think
even then, you're probably okay. If you leave it sitting out for a while, maybe.
But I think if anyone's trying to eat a frozen Hot Pocket, it will get to room temperature before you're done.
For sure. You'll just be sucking on a frozen Hot Pocket for a while.
And it's not going to melt away like a popsicle. So
no.
That reminded me, the description of what is inside a Hot Pocket reminded me that I forgot to mention earlier that all of my vegetables are cheese-based.
Then you're not vegan.
But I'm eating vegetables.
But it's still cheese.
But I'm eating cake, it's just meat-based. And I'm eating lots of veggies, they're just cheese-based.
There's a lot of other things in cake besides... There's a lot of other things in cake in general that are not vegan.
Yeah, but the eggs are also meat-based.
You're not a vegan. Speaking of meat...
Meat-based eggs.
Speaking of meat...
Sorry?
Sean, what do chickens think we taste like? The age-old question, right? Well, here's what ChatGPT is.
Assign a number to the age, and you're going to be right. 4 years.
Chickens do not have the cognitive ability to form complex thoughts or speculations about what humans might taste like. Chickens are primarily driven by instinct, and their behavior is guided by basic needs such as food, water, shelter, and safety. While chickens may display aggressive behavior towards humans in certain situations, such as when they feel threatened or are defending their territory or young, this behavior is not motivated by the idea of humans as a potential food source.
Well, how do we know that for sure?
It is also worth noting chickens are generally domesticated and raised for food production, so they are typically more familiar with humans as caretakers and providers of food and water than as potential predators or prey. Therefore, it is unlikely that they would view humans in the same way that they might view other animals they encounter in their natural environment. The reason I liked this one is that middle paragraph that just says that their behavior is not motivated by the idea of humans as a potential food source.
One part I like is the fact that because we raise them to turn them into food.
Yeah, we're not predators. We're their friends.
They don't see us as someone that will end their life and eat them. We see them as, they take care of us. So yeah, I thought that was pretty humorous too. But no, I like that middle paragraph too.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, how can they really... I keep forgetting this is not a person coming up with these answers. So I'm like, how can they say that they know how a chicken thinks? It's not a person.
Yeah. What color does a Smurf feel when he is down?
Oh.
Smurfs are fictional blue creatures created by Belgian cartoonist Peyo. They are known for their blue skin and white clothing, and they are typically depicted as cheerful and optimistic characters. Since Smurfs are fictional characters, they do not actually feel feelings like humans do. However, if we were to imagine a scenario in which a Smurf was feeling down, it is unclear what color they would appear to be. One could argue that a Smurf would be who is feeling down might appear to be a darker shade of blue, reflecting their mood. Alternatively, one could argue that a Smurf who is feeling down might appear to be a paler shade of blue or even white, reflecting a loss of vitality or energy. Ultimately, the color of a Smurf would appear to be when feeling down is a matter of interpretation and speculation, and there is no definitive answer.
Well,
the fact that it had an answer to this at all amazed me.
If someone could eat, was it Peyo? What was the guy's name?
Peyo. Peyo.
He or she could have easily come up with the answer by illustrating that they were a different shade of blue or some other color when they were feeling quote unquote blue.
Yeah.
So you're wrong again, ChatGPT.
Yeah. All right. This one I really liked as well.
Okay. I just want to point out before you read it, I just want to point out that I'm so used to calling it ChatGPT that just now, since I remembered to hit P like a hard P instead of B. I said chi. Like I hit the G harder to say chi. I said chi PT. I'm never gonna get this right.
Yeah. I don't know how to help you with that.
End of rant.
If the Wicked Witch of the West melts in water, how did she ever bathe?
Well, she probably didn't.
Well, here's what ChatGPT thinks.
Cheap.
The Wicked Witch of the West is a fictional character in the book The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, and subsequently in the famous movie adaptation The Wizard of Oz. In the story, the witch is indeed shown to be vulnerable to water, which is why she famously melts when Dorothy throws a bucket of water on her. However, it is not explicitly stated in the story how the Wicked Witch of the West bathes or cleans herself. It's possible that she avoided water as much as possible or used other means to stay clean. Alternatively, it's possible that the vulnerability to water was a magical aspect of her that only affected her when she was actively trying to harm others and didn't come into play when she was simply taking care of her personal hygiene. Ultimately, the specifics of the Wicked Witch's bathing habits are left up to the reader's imagination, as they are not explicitly addressed in the story.
I'm liking the pattern here. So
one of my favorite ones.
This is they have to point out it's a fictional character, but if we were to really look at it, blah, 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 it doesn't explicitly say blah, 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 blah.
That's what I love about it, because I feel like if it just said, like, it's a fictional character, so who's to know?
Right,
that'd be boring. But it's like, but how about this may be a possible option?
So it is nice because it gives the sort of completely logical response that you would expect a computer to deliver. But there also is like a thought-provoking response to follow it. Like, well, but if we were to veer off of that a little bit, if we were to veer off of logic a tiny bit.
Here's a couple ideas.
Here's what might be the reason. So does that mean it doesn't rain in the land of Oz?
If it does, she can only go outside with an umbrella.
Right. I mean, you're always gonna have that risk indoors. You're always gonna have that risk of some splashback, runoff, anything. You can't.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if how much water? Like, obviously, a bucket of water takes her out, but would like a couple droplets kill her? They probably just hurt.
No, they would hurt. Yeah. So if you're going to go outside in the rain, you must have a real good reason. If you're going to potentially get like what are the equivalent of like some burns all over any exposed skin. So you have to have a really good reason to go, or you have more surrounding protection than just what an umbrella provides.
Yeah.
You're in the Pope Mobile at that point.
I'm going to skip a couple of these that I kept that I'm not as happy with. Still, because I want to make sure we get to yours.
Okay, sorry.
What?
I was going to say, why didn't I say a regular car? Why did I say the Pope? Oh. You're protected from the rain in a regular car.
That's true, unless it's a convertible.
Well, I would say that a convertible is an irregular car.
Sure.
A convertible is pretty lame because it's a car that converts into a car.
Yeah, just converts into a different. It's the original Transformer. It just converts into a different car.
Still a car. That was a transformation sound.
Yeah, famously. If I eat myself, will I get twice as big or disappear completely?
You'll be the same.
It is not possible to eat yourself. It is not possible to eat yourself, and attempting to do so would result in severe harm to your body. You don't say. Your body is composed of organs, tissue, and cells that work together to keep you alive and healthy. Eating any part of your body would cause irreversible damage to this system and likely result in serious injury or death. Additionally, Additionally, the idea of eating yourself would result in either getting bigger or disappearing completely is a misconception. The process of digestion and metabolism is complex and cannot be simplified in such a way. In summary, it is not possible to eat yourself, and attempting to do so would be harmful to your health. It's important to prioritize self-care and seek medical attention if you are experiencing any physical or mental health concerns.
So I did something somewhat similar to this. Now, just hold on. Don't worry. It's not going anywhere weird, trust me.
I didn't eat myself, however.
It sounds like it might, but I when I was a kid, I was making a snow fort. And so it was a pile of snow that was like along the driveway after shoveling and stuff, right? So it was already this giant pile of snow. So I started to hollow it out.
Okay.
As I got toward the top, when I was hollowing it out, I would take snow that I scraped off the ceiling and take it outside and put it back on top of the roof.
Right.
To then make the pile bigger, and then I could scoop more out to hollow out more, and so forth, until it got to a point where there was just not enough left to scrape away.
Yeah, it was getting too thin.
So it's a little opposite of that, but in a way, the overall mass of the snow fort would have remained the same, but in a way, it's like I made it bigger.
Right.
So I think that if you do eat yourself, you would maybe cover more surface area, or cover less surface area, but you might be more dense. There'd be more contents on the inside.
I don't know why I hate so much that does kind of go along the same lines as this.
It does, right? It does, doesn't it?
What a weird fucking thing to like tie into that. Like, I was building a snow fort as a kid. It's just like eating yourself.
Yeah. That's why it's so fun.
All right. I got
a
couple left here at the bottom.
But then my sister came out and didn't realize what I was doing and walked on the top of it. And then she fell in through the top and collapsed the whole thing.
And somehow survived.
Then I ate her and she disappeared.
Like father, there's like that. Son. It's a reference that only you should get. It's referencing back to a video you made in college where you were interviewing your dad as a person and he threw in a line and then we ate him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, good pull.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. I thought that was, you know what? I generally don't think that things my dad says are funny, but that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, when you told me he ad-libbed that later, I'm like, all right, good on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean, where do socks go when they go missing?
That's a question for the socks.
That's a question for ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Get it right.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said.
I think you
said the mystery
TBD.
Of lost socks is a common one. The mystery of lost socks is a common one, and there is no definitive answer as to where they go when they go missing. However, there are several possible explanations for why socks may seem to disappear. One possibility is that socks may get lost in the washing machine or dryer, either by getting stuck in the machine or falling out of the laundry basket. Socks can also get mixed up with other clothes and end up in a different pile, making them difficult to find. Another possibility is that socks may simply be misplaced or lost in the process of taking them off or putting them on. I don't know how you lose them while putting them on. This can happen when we take socks off and leave them in a random place, or when they are accidentally dropped, or when we accidentally drop them or forget to put them away. I like how it says "we" here, and it can't do that.
Yeah,
it's the royal we. Overall, the disappearance of socks remains a mystery, and it is likely that there are many factors that contribute to the phenomenon. However, it is important to keep track of our belongings and stay organized to minimize the chance of losing socks or other items. It always gives life advice.
Oh yeah. I love how there's two howevers in this.
There's two howevers in this one.
You know what? I guarantee you, if this has not already happened, it will happen. There will be students that will use ChatGPT to write full-on like reports for them.
Oh, guaranteed.
Now, here's the question.
I wish we had this when we were in school.
Here's the question. If let's say that a student puts in a subject for a report into this and it spits out its reply, the student turns that in. Can the teacher then put that same subject into it and get the same results to prove that they used it to produce the report?
I think it would depend on what they typed in initially.
Right.
Because I think if you type in, I think you would have to type in here's the thing too with it. So my first thought before I branch off to my second thought, I think you would have to type in the exact same phrase that is typed in. But that's not necessarily true. I was like contradicting myself immediately as I was saying it, because I have typed in the same thing twice and gotten different results. So the chances are it might be difficult. I won't say it's going to be impossible to figure out that they did it, but it would probably be difficult to prove it. However, most of the time when you write stuff like that, you do have to cite your sources.
Which, again, there's a term for that, and I don't remember what it is.
Cite your references?
No, it's. I think it's a one-word. It's a one-word thing. I'll
Should we ask ChatGPT?
Sure, why not? What else do we got to do?
So the last thing on my list, before we get into your questions, and this one I thought was pretty good. What would happen if you hired 2 private investigators to follow each other? All right. If you were to hire 2... What?
So it all depends on what you're trying to... Because you typically hire a private investigator to see if something you suspect someone is doing is actually happening. So why are you hiring the PIs?
Well, yeah, you just make up some excuse as to, I want you to follow this guy
and tell me what they're up to.
This guy seems suspicious. Could you follow him and see what he's up to? And then you do the same thing to the other private investigator. So then they just start following each other around and reporting back to you. So if you were to hire 2 private investigators to follow each other, it would likely result in a confusing and possibly comical situation.
Oh, wow.
The investigators would likely notice that they are both being followed and may become suspicious of each other's intentions. This would lead to a situation where both investigators are following each other in an endless loop without a clear resolution. In some cases, private investigators may be trained to recognize them when they are being followed or surveilled, and may take countermeasures to protect their clients' privacy and interests. This could include using evasive driving techniques, changing their routes frequently, or conducting counter-surveillance to identify the other investigator. Overall, hiring 2 private investigators to follow each other would likely be a futile and potentially expensive exercise, as it would not yield any useful information or insights. If you have concerns about someone's activities, it's important to work with a qualified and ethical investigator who can help you gather information in a legal and responsible manner. Again, life advice. But I thought that was kind of a funny thought, and I'm just like, oh, that would be a good prank pull. Hire 2 investigators and then have them start following each other around.
It would. I mean, if you got money to throw around, then
But I think
go for it.
I think it would probably fail fairly quickly if one was following the other one and he went to his office that probably said, like, you know, Dick Butters, private investigator, on the outside of the door. I don't know why I chose that name. Couldn't think of a name.
Is it because you're trying to offend me because I'm vegan?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can't have butter. You can have vegan butter.
I can't even have dick.
You can't eat dick. You could suck on it, probably. You could have essence of dick.
Like I can bring home something that puts the aroma of dick in the air.
Yeah, you could smell. Yeah, you could smell dick. You could smell someone's dick. That'd be fine.
I could smell dick a mile away.
So, do we want to get into some of your questions?
I say we at least start to. If it looks like it's going down a horrible dead end non funny road, then we'll just say see you next Tuesday.
So all right, so
out of here.
Yeah, at this point, those ones I had already read before. That's probably why I read them so eloquently, more eloquently than usual.
Moderately eloquent.
Yeah. So these are Sean's questions, not proofread. I didn't actually even read your questions. I just copied them and threw them in without actually looking at them. So Sean's first question is, what happens when we die? The questions fucked up immediately. Wow. This is what I get for not proofreading. Question of what happens when we die is one of the biggest mysteries of human existence, and there is no one definitive answer that satisfies everyone. Ain't that the truth?
Right.
There are many different beliefs and theories about what happens after death, and they often depend on cultural, religious, philosophical, or personal perspectives. From a scientific perspective, the most widely accepted view is that when we die, our bodies cease to function and our brain activity stops permanently. As a result, we lose consciousness and awareness and the world around us. Our body then undergoes a series of physical and chemical changes that eventually lead to decomposition. However, many people believe that death is not the end, and there are some form of afterlife and continuation of consciousness beyond the physical body. This belief is often associated with religious or spiritual traditions that propose the existence of a soul and or a spirit that transcends physical death. Some people believe in reincarnation, which is the idea that after death, our soul or consciousness is reborn into another body or form of existence. Others believe in an afterlife in which the soul or spirit goes to a different realm or dimension, such as heaven, hell, purgatory, or other spiritual planes. Ultimately, what happens after we die is a mystery, and we may never fully understand while we are alive. I don't think we will. Different people will have different beliefs and perspectives. There's no way to prove or disprove any of them. It is up to each individual to form their own belief and find comfort in whatever understanding they have of this fundamental mystery of life.
Hilarious.
I know. I think you were hoping for it to come up with something.
So here, okay, let's. So here's the issue.
Yeah.
The original, you know this, Matt, but the original series of questions I sent you were so wacky that ChatGPT was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So trust me, I wanted to make a more ridiculous version of this question, but I had to just normalize it for the sake of it producing something for you to read.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that was maybe one of your more tame questions. This next question might be better.
Let's see.
Is everything on an everything bagel?
Oh?
No, not everything is actually on an everything bagel. An everything bagel is a type of bagel that is covered with a mixture of various toppings, typically including sesame seeds, poppy seeds, garlic, onions, salt, and sometimes other spices or toppings such as caraway seeds or fennel seeds. The term everything is used because it seems like everything has been sprinkled on the top of the bagel. However, there are some toppings that are not typically included in the mixture, such as cheese, meat, or vegetables. So while an everything bagel may have a wide variety of toppings, it is not accurate to say that everything is on it.
All right. I like that.
That was better, right? Huh?
Yeah. Yep. It threw in the cheese and meat dig at me again. Even GPT's against me, against my veganism.
Weirdly, very fitting for this episode.
I know. So, hey, it's a happy accident.
Yeah. Sean's third questions. Can the Olympic Games be destroyed?
I hope so.
While anything is technically possible, it is highly unlikely that the Olympic Games could be completely destroyed. The Olympic Games are a massive international event that involves thousands of athletes, officials, volunteers, and spectators from around the world. Games are organized and supported by numerous international organizations, including the International Olympic Committee, IOC, and various national Olympic committees. Ooh.
Wow.
Olympic Games have been held regularly since 1896 and have survived various challenges and disruptions, including wars, boycotts, and even terrorist attacks. In recent years, the Olympic Games have faced issues such as doping scandals, financial problems, and controversies over host cities and venues. However, these challenges have not led to the destruction of the Games as a whole. The Olympic Games have become an important symbol of international cooperation, peace, and sportsmanship, and have a significant cultural and historical significance. As such, it is unlikely the Games would be completely destroyed, but they may face challenges and changes over time. So, sorry, Sean.
I'm disappointed. So, do you think those wars and those other hindrances were attempts to destroy the Olympic Games in the past?
Terrorist attacks were.
They were. Do you think so? I like
terrorist attacks on the Olympic Games, yes.
Well, the funny thing is, not that that's funny, but, that might do something to that year's Olympic Games, but it's not like 4 years
not the Olympic Games
then.
as a whole. Yeah.
They're like, oh, no, the Olympics are destroyed. We can't host them or have them ever again.
Yeah, even if you successfully destroy one Olympic Games, you're not going to end Olympic Games forever.
All right. Well, that answers that. For those of you who, that was the most...
Who are ever wondering or trying to destroy.
Yeah, that was the most popular question I received back from the listeners. So
there you go.
You all know the answer.
Who would win in a fight between Batman and cancer? It is important to note that cancer is a disease and cannot be defeated through physical combat. Batman, being a fictional character, is not capable of battling a disease such as cancer. While Batman is known for his physical strength, agility, and combat skills, he is not a medical professional or a scientist who can develop a cure for cancer. Fighting cancer requires medical treatment and a multidisciplinary approach, including oncologists, surgeons, radiologists, and other healthcare professionals. It is important to recognize that cancer is a serious and often deadly disease that affects millions of people worldwide. While it's fun to imagine hypothetical battles between fictional characters, it's important to focus on supporting research and funding for cancer prevention, detection, and treatment. That one was great.
Yeah. So
that's my favorite one so far.
I like that one a lot. But this is suggesting that Batman is not disciplined enough to fight cancer.
Yeah, I mean, he cannot be defeated through physical combat.
If only.
Somebody tells you that they have cancer and you just start beating the shit out of them.
Now, I really wasn't sure about this question because it's a silly concept of a question, but obviously cancer is a very touchy subject, and I don't want anyone to feel like I'm mocking cancer or those that are suffering through it. Like
right.
I was a little uneasy.
Somebody who's had it.
Yeah, I was a little uneasy about submitting that one but I'm like, it's just ridiculous enough that I have to.
It is.
Put it up there.
The first two sentences are so good because the second sentence of Batman being a fictional character is not capable of battling a disease such as cancer. Basically, almost saying like in any way,
right,
like if he got it, he was done.
yeah. If he got it, if the Joker got it doesn't matter. All right.
Can a dog's dreams come true? Dogs, like humans and many other animals, do dream. They experience different stages of sleep, including REM sleep. REM sleep. Because there was like a parenthesis in there to say rapid eye movement. So I'm like, I thought that was the end of the sentence.
Got it.
During which they may twitch, whimper, or move their paws as if running. It's believed that dogs dream about experiences they've had while awake, such as playing, exploring, or interacting with their owners or other dogs. However, it is important to note every time there's a however, it's important to note that dogs do not have the ability to consciously manifest their dreams into reality. They cannot actively pursue or achieve their dreams in the same way that humans do. Dogs rely on their...
If they're just dreaming about experiences they have while they're awake, then wouldn't technically their dreams come true?
I think it means... I think it's they can't consciously manifest it. Like they can't be like, oh, that dream I had of me playing, I want to do that again.
But that's not what I asked. I didn't ask, can dogs make their dreams come true? I said, can dogs' dreams come true?
Oh,
so technically, it's saying that they can, but it's telling us that they can't. They can't make it happen.
Do it themselves. Yeah, they can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
They cannot actively pursue or achieve their dreams in the same way humans can. Dogs rely on their owners to provide for their needs and ensure their well-being. As pet owners, it's our responsibility, no, it's not your responsibility, to ensure that our dogs have a happy and fulfilling life. This means providing them with proper nutrition, exercise, socialization, and veterinary care. By taking care of our dogs' physical and emotional needs, we can help them live their best possible lives, and experience joy and happiness in their waking hours.
So it's my responsibility to make my dog's dreams come true?
It is. But you have to know what your dog's dreams are. And that is impossible. I made the same dumb joke.
Yeah, it was. I know. Yep. It was, it happened the first time.
Yeah. I'll try it again later. If John could spare a dime, does John have a dime to spare? The phrase, if John could spare a dime, is a hypothetical statement that suggests that John may have a dime to spare. It implies that if John had a dime to spare, he would be able to give it to someone in need. However, the phrase does not provide him any information about whether John actually has a dime to spare or not. It's possible that John may have a dime that he could spare, or he may not have one at all. In general, the phrase to spare means to have more of something than is needed or able to give something away without causing hardship or difficulty. So if John says he could spare a dime, it suggests that he has at least one dime that he could give away without causing significant hardship to himself.
So yes.
That's like it's Schrodinger's dime at that point because you don't know if he's got one.
Right. He both has a dime to spare and doesn't have a dime to spare at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, here's one that's not going to work, Sean.
No, what is it? Which one is it?
Did I catch you on guard?
Oh.
As an AI language model, I don't have emotions or feelings like humans, so I'm never caught off guard or surprised. Oh, shit. Actually,
it did kind of figure it out.
Kind of does, yeah. I'm designed to respond to a wide range of questions and prompts, so feel free to ask me anything you'd like. And then we did. We asked you your next question.
We did.
When the hunter becomes the hunted, who becomes the hunter? Interesting. When the hunter becomes the hunted, the tables have turned, and the prey now becomes the hunter. The one I'm reading this way more epically than I probably should.
Well, I like it.
The one who was previously pursuing and hunting their prey is now being pursued and hunted by their former prey. For example, if a hunter is tracking and trying to kill a wild animal, but the animal becomes aware and the hunter's presence and starts stalking them instead, the animal has become the hunter, and the hunter has become the hunted. The phrase, when the hunter becomes the hunted, is often used metaphorically to describe situations where someone who was previously in a position of power or control finds themselves in a vulnerable or threatened position. In such cases, it may be said that they have become the hunted, and their adversaries have become the hunters.
Right.
And we got one more. Yeah, we already knew that. One more here. How fast do I need to run for mayor to win? I don't know why I said mirror.
I don't know either.
Mayor to win. Mayor. Running for mayor typically does not require any actual running or physical fitness.
What?
Typically doesn't. Rather, it involves a political campaign in which you seek to pursue voters to elect you in the position of mayor. To win a mayoral election, you would need to garner enough support from the voters in the city or town. This involves developing a platform and campaign strategy, building a team of supporters and volunteers, raising funds, and engaging with voters through various means such as public speaking, advertising, and social media. There's no specific speed at which you need to run to win a mayoral election. Rather, success in an election depends on a variety of factors, including your campaign platform, messaging, and appeal to voters. It is important to focus on these aspects of your campaign rather than any physical fitness or running ability.
So slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah. In an election,
it doesn't really say that, but
it doesn't. But that kind of applies to that
a little bit. I'm pleased with what's been generated from these questions. I didn't have high hopes.
You know how they how you do we're doing this run to raise money for research of this or that or whatever,
charity X.
Yeah. I think it would be funny to do a run for mayor in that sense of I'm running for anybody
wins.
Can run in this event. No.
No, you're trying to raise money for your campaign.
Yeah, but the whole thing would be running for mayor.
Then anyone in the race is running for mayor.
No, they're not, because everybody in the race isn't running to get the thing that they're running for.
Well,
they're running to raise money for it.
Yeah, but if there's a race that's for charity,
right?
Everybody who's running in that race is running for charity.
They're running to raise money for that charity. So you'd be running to raise money for this mayoral race.
Right. But I was if it was me that was running for mayor, as in I am the one trying to be elected into office of mayor, I would be the only one who was running for mayor.
While running for mayor.
Providing I actually run in the race, in the foot race.
Yeah.
Or I just host it and have other people run in the foot race to raise money so I can run in the mayoral race.
Yeah.
Or as you would put it, the mayoral race.
Yeah, because I guess if you're running for a charity or a medical research thing, the charity or the medical research isn't also running in the race.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to physically take part in the actual race.
But foot race. It would be in my best interest to probably take part in it.
Yeah.
To show that I'm one with
Shake hands
people.
while you're doing it,
Yeah, hobnob and baby kiss and all that. Although
that's not kissing babies. That's just giving really small kisses.
Yeah, the really tiny, cute, googly kisses. Goo. I almost said gooey.
It could be
because babies will say goo,
Yeah,
but gooey kisses.
Just eat a bunch of caramel and then
yeah, that's how you do a baby kiss.
Yeah,
you have to have your lips have to be coated in caramel. Or I'm sorry, caramel. Caramel is the place.
You have to have a Cheerio stuck to your cheek.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
you have to have a couple of teeth lost or growing in.
Yeah, you have to have poop in your diaper.
Yep. which helps with running.
I mean,
because you're
it's
like,
a form of running.
You just want to. I mean, you just want to hurry up and get yourself to the bathroom, so you'll run to the end of the race.
True.
Done, and then you'll be able to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, I had a close call this week.
Is that right?
I'm like, if I don't go to the bathroom right now, I'm going to go to the bathroom right now. So,
see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Class dismissed.
Yeah, I don't like it.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at hsfamouspod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
The eggs are also meat-based.